It's my feel-good breakfast show.
This is indeed your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso, only on SABC3. Talking about antibiotics this morning with our multimedia health specialist, Dr. Darren Green. This morning, if you have any questions, call us 083 9133728. First question I do have, I think a lot of people are wary when it comes to generic versions of antibiotics.
Yes.
Are they just as effective? Because we do know that they are cheaper.
Yeah, so what we need to do is firstly assess whether the generics are subjected to the same stringent quality control standards, and most of the brands that come into our country are. There are a few, however, that aren't, and that's what you need to know. When you create a generic, it needs to have the bioavailability. In other words, it needs to be available in the bloodstream for at least a minimum amount of 80% of the original.
Okay.
So that's one of the criteria that a generic actually needs to meet.
Right.
You then have other meds which are called clones, which are exactly the same as the original. So be aware of the difference between those two. And certainly with the affordability of drugs, generics have become very popular. We do notice, obviously, in certain groups that the side effect profiles might differ from the generic with the original drug due to the other components that are mixed into the medication. Obviously, to make it a bit cheaper. Okay,
interesting. Like, so as a patient, how would you kind of get that information, or no? Do you just ask your pharmacist, or?
Yes. Often you've got to look at things like a trusting practitioner, one that isn't getting incentives from any pharmaceutical house, that can give you a balanced opinion regarding his clinical experience of using a generic, for example, of the same antibiotic, whether the side effect profile is worse with it or not. What's his clinical experience been over a period of time? So experience and clinical guidance is important. And then certainly, when you're not sure if a side effect is due to that medication or whatever, go and look it up. You might see that there are 50,000 people that complained of the same thing with a certain batch of medication.
You do your bit of research.
Do your research.
All right, we have a caller on the line, Loretta from Cape Town. Good morning. What's your question?
Morning, Ewan. I've got a question for the doctor. I would like to know, Septugard, is that a natural antibiotic? Because it's something that I can buy over the counter and I don't need a script for. So I want to know if it's good, because I got a Down syndrome child and he's quite sick often. So I'm using that, and I just want to know, is it good that I'm giving that to him?
All right, thank you for your question, Loretta. Yes.
And a good question. So Septugard is a natural product made from certain flowers that occur naturally, and it's used as what's labeled a natural antibiotic. Obviously, my experience clinically, science-wise, as to how effective it is in killing which bugs, etc., I can't comment on. But I am aware of a lot of people using Septugard going to their pediatricians to get, for example, a proper antibiotic as such. Often they use that for immunomodulation before, and when there's a light manifestation, they use that, and a lot of parents then feel that prevents them from actually going into a full-blown infection. But certainly it is available over the counter, but it's classified under the medications of natural medication.
Well, I've used it myself as well, and for my kids. It is a good precursor before you go to the route of real antibiotics.
And a very one of the popular choices.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Darren, there's so much to talk about. Indeed. I wish we had more time. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're once again really, really glad you are okay after your car accident. Thank you so much. And also thank you to you for all of your questions. We'll continue our health discussions right here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show next week. Well, it is unfortunately time to say goodbye on this Tuesday morning.